right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High. You in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. In the 5th chapter of John and the 39th verse. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. If they are they which testify of me, you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Allah in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. Another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Don't think that I'll accuse you, Abba. There's one that accused you. Even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Revelation chapter 1, verse 17. Revelation chapter 1, verse 17. What you want, Grandma? Mm-hmm. What you want? Don't throw it away. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead, right hand upon me, saying unto me, fear not, I am the first and the last. I am he that lived and was dead, and behold, I'm alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of hell and of death. So let's go back and revisit Isaiah 46, if we would. Isaiah 46 and 9. Oh, got away with that reconnect. Okay. So Isaiah 46 and 8. You could make that's right. Right. Remember this and show yourselves men, and bring it again to mind, O you transgressors. Remember the former things of old. I am Elohim. There is none else. I am Elohim. There is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from the ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, and a man to execute my counsel from a far country. Yea, I have spoken it, I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it, I will also do it. Hearken unto me, you stout-hearted that are far from righteousness. I bring near my righteousness, it shall not be far off, and my salvation shall not tarry. I'll place my salvation in Zion, for Yahshua my esteem. Come on to one more location, in the 55th chapter of the same book, Isaiah. I want you to come to verse 8, straight on to the point, Isaiah 55 and 8. Just rub your hand over, son. Stick your hand out. Stick your hand out. You're not listening to what I'm telling you. Stick your hand out. Oh. Follow directions. You ain't got to do that. It does it on its own. Go sit down. Isaiah 55 and 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yahuwah. For as Shamahim is a high down, and the snow from Shamahim return not hither, but water the earth, and make it bring forth in bud, that it might give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that go forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void. It shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. That's what a lot of people don't fail to understand and realize. That goes back to what we read just in chapter 46, that he declares the end from the beginning and that his counsel will stand. His word is going to do what he sent it to do, irregardless of you. You know what I'm talking about? See, a lot of people don't sit back and look at that. His word is going to do exactly what he sent it to do. You don't have to participate. See, a lot of us think that his word is contingent upon our participation. Like, of course, there's many of Brutus said, see, we got to repent, and then he going to come back and get us. That man coming back to do what he said he was going to do regardless. He don't need you. See, that's where the dynamic of what most people walk around in this world. when they feel like that they're dealing with somebody and not understanding that person's in a superior position than them. Someone in a superior position than you does not need you. Because whatever it is that they set to do, it will be fulfilled with or without you. Once you get it into your mind that somebody needs you to fulfill something, then that means 9 times out of 10, you're probably dealing with someone lesser. So of course they will need you to fulfill it. You're dealing with someone greater than you. They don't have any need for you to accomplish their will. You understand what I'm talking about? Their will be accomplished. See, most of the time when somebody says they need someone, they look at it in an emotional sense. That's usually some type of emotional attachment. When you're dealing with somebody fulfilling their will and their purpose and their objectives, if they are committed to fulfilling that task, they do not need you to help them fulfill it. They will fulfill it with or without you if they have that drive and determination. Well, Yahuwah has already determined that his word will prosper to the thing that he sent it to, and it will be accomplished with or without you. You know what I'm saying? Yahushua was we were going to be redeemed regardless. It wouldn't have mattered if the Lord didn't want to do it. Of course, that would be quite contrary if that's the case. Let me show you why I say that. 2 Timothy chapter 2. About 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11. Because I want 13, but we're going to look at verse 11 to begin with. It is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. And if we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he will also deny us. If we believe not, yet he abide faithful, he cannot deny himself. That's what the part to sit back and look at it. If he said he didn't want to do it, he'd be denying himself. And that's just something that he's not going to do. Now we should take a look at something else too. Luke chapter 12 before we get to this Numbers chapter 5. (12 and 8). And the part fourth is the denying part. Most of y'all know what Titus 1 and 16 say. People confess that they know him, but in works they deny him, being abominable, disobedient, and reprobate. You know what it means to be reprobate, Mike? I'm not asking you. Oh, okay, you heard me say it. Yes. Okay, I will allow it. Okay, yeah. Monica, do you know what it is to be reprobate? I just did. You're a reprobate. Sade, you know what it is to be reprobate? Eric, you know what it is to be reprobate? Close, but not necessarily. Did you know what it is to be reprobate?
Rebellion. Your heart is turned away. You can't turn back.
Not necessarily.
Well, it's turned away. You're rebellion.
Not necessarily. I'm not saying that that's a name, but that's not what it is to be reprobate. Monte, you know what it is to be reprobate? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. To be reprobate is for Yahuwah to reject you. And once he rejects you, he gives you over to your own heart. Reprobate, by definition, means to be worthless. Come over here to, before we read Luke 12, let me give you an example. Come over here to Jeremiah chapter 6. Let me give you an example. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 23. Do I want 23? I'll give you verse 18. You can get Jeremiah 6 and 18. No. Same thing on back. You don't know who people are, so it's okay. Do you know who they are? Unfortunately, it's before your time. Well, one of them is still alive. One of them is not. That one is still alive. That nigga had a heart attack while driving. Macho Man was that nigga. Jeremiah 6:18. Therefore you hear, you nations, and know, O congregation, what is among them. Hear, O earth, and I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts. See, pause. Now see, that's something that we got to discuss. This man will bring the fruit of your intentions, your purposes, your plans, and devices right back to you. That is just the definition that you reap what you sow. That's why the word tell you about why should a man complain about punishment for his sins when all you getting back is the fruit of your inventions, your plots, your plans, and your devices. Remember the foolishness, the thoughts of sin, or foolish thoughts and sin. In some case, I'm saying it incorrectly, so forgive me for that. And remember, thoughts means your plots, your plans, and your devices, not your literal thoughts. When you read thoughts in this text, it's not talking about your literal thoughts. That's what old simple nigga will tell you. And see, you sin by your thoughts. No, the book tell you to bring your thoughts into captivity, into Mashiach. Your flesh is always contrary to the Ruach. Book tell you that. So you haven't transgressed the word because you thought about doing something. You know what I'm talking about? The problem is if you don't cast those thoughts down. Because if you don't cast them down, those thoughts begin to become actions. And then those actions are going to become death. You understand? Now somebody who's reprobate will do them with no regard. But that's only because Yahuwah has rejected you. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of people tell you that, right? How many of y'all got told you legit, the Lord will never forsake you or leave you? You people told you that? They told you a bold-faced lie if they ever told you. That man will cut you off with no problem, no hesitation, and think nothing about it. And he'll do it because the simple fact that you cut him off. See, of course, that's because we live in a society that, especially with the feminine mindset of, if somebody loves you, they'll chase you. Somebody loves you, they'll pursue you. And you don't have to reciprocate. See, you can't sit back and do. See, the Lord not gonna call you and you don't call him. If you ain't making no supplication to him, why would he come and visit you? You know what I'm saying? Why would he do that? That makes no sense. It only makes sense when you're narcissistic and vain and selfish. It makes sense. Because that means you caught up in yourself and you think that you that great that somebody would do that for you. Then when they don't do it, then you sit back and say, well, they must didn't care or didn't love me. No, you did that to yourself. You know what I'm talking about? You created something where somebody wouldn't do it, hoping that they would satisfy your ego and lower themselves by chasing after you and doing something that you would not reciprocate back. Yahuwah has already told you that he showed mercy to thousands of them that love him and keep his commandments. So if you give him love, he will reciprocate that love in return. If you give him your butt to kiss, he will turn his back on you. He won't think nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? You don't read nowhere in the text where this man chased anybody. He stepped at you and gave you an opportunity to amend your conduct. But if you chose to run, he did not chase you. If you chose not to call him, he chose not to answer you when you did call, when you weren't calling on him. Yahuwah will not be there waiting for you. You know what I'm talking about? He will not be there because he's going to look at it as clearly you deemed yourself unworthy of the everlasting salvation that I have to offer. So therefore, you're correct. And I won't give it to you. See, a lot of this stuff, especially in this society, where you got niggas like Steve Harvey and all them people, well, they boost people's mind up to think somebody gonna stay there waiting for you because you just got there in the third. But then you forgot who you were dealing with. This is the living Elohim, the creator of Shamahim and Araz, who can lift up his right hand and his left hand to Shamahim and say he lived forever. Can you do that? You cannot. So therefore, that means you're in need of him way more than he is in need of you. He will not chase you, nor beg you, nor plead with you. And he told you that in 1 Chronicles chapter 28, that if you forsake him, he will cast you off forever. And he say, but if you cleave to him, that man will not leave you or forsake you if you trust in him and you walk with him. He will not do it. He's not that type of man. You know what I'm saying? You cannot compare. But again, that goes back to what we were discussing the other night. When you deal with trash can niggas, you're going to get trash can results. Then you consistently deal with trash can niggas, and then you want to put that blanket on everybody. One thing that you can never do is judge another person by another person's actions, because that person was not going to judge. That's why. What does the law tell you about that? I'm going to see, can you decipher what I just said? What does the law tell you about that? Because the law tell you about that. It said that you can never judge another person off of another person's actions. You know what I'm saying? If this woman did you like this or did you like this, you can't judge the next woman based off of her conduct. If a man did you like this, you can't judge the next man based off of that man's conduct. Because imagine who did that. And guess what? The law says something about that. And who knows what it says in that result. Not necessarily. There's actually an example of an individual who extended that type of mercy to the sons of an individual who killed his family. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Does anybody know? In the Book of Kings. No, you thinking about the Gibeonites. They got swapped out. But it tells you that the sons can't be put to death for the father. See, Yahuwah's not going to judge you based off of what you did over here or did overseas. He's not going to do that. He's going to hold you accountable for what you do. Just imagine if Yahuwah held Shayla accountable for what Michael did. Just because y'all in the same family. Or y'all both said y'all served me and you went this way and you went that way. Imagine if he did that to you, but that's what we do as human beings, and it's understandable. It's in your nature to do that. But when you talk about godliness, you can't do that. You can't measure the same judgment to somebody based off what somebody else did. You know what I'm saying? That's not godly. That's not godly wisdom. That's not godly judgment, understanding, and that's not a just weight and a balance. But yeah, that's in the Book of King. The king escapes my mind, but dudes came through treasonous, killed his daddy, and God came through. He killed the men who killed his father and didn't kill the sons of those, because those sons of those men did not perform that act. Therefore, he did not hold them accountable for what his father did. You know what I'm saying? And that's just as simple like this here, right? Can't do that. At the end of the day, just imagine if Yahuwah said you all sinners, so I'm going to treat you like sinners, because the last group of y'all, the last generation was sinners. So I'm going to treat y'all like them, even though you haven't had an opportunity to know right from wrong yet. You do him like that. Can't do that. Not for it to be just. Let's continue. Verse 19 again. What? Hear, O earth, and behold, I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words, nor to my law, but rejected. To what purpose come there to me incense from Sheba and the sweet cane from a far country? Your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices sweet unto me. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah, I will lay stumbling blocks before this people, and the fathers and their sons together shall fall upon them, and the neighbor and his friend shall perish. Thus saith Yahuwah, behold, the people come from the north country, a great nation shall be raised to the sides of the earth. They shall lay hold on a bow and spear. They are cruel and have no mercy. Their voice roar like the sea. And they ride upon horses set array as men for war against you, O daughter of Zion. We have heard the fame thereof. Our hands wax feeble. Anguish have taken hold of us, and pain as of a woman in travail. Go not forth into the fear, nor walk by the way. For the sword of the enemy and the fear is on every side. O daughter of my people, gird you with sackcloth and wallow in the ashes and make you mourning. Listen to it. As for an only son, make most bitter lamentation, for the spoiler shall suddenly come upon us. So you can see what that's pointing you to. You can line that up with Zechariah 12. You can see where you can read that and Don, where those people were weeping for him. And he said, and in Luke, when he said, oh, daughters of Zion, don't weep for me. Because he said, if they can do this in a green tree, what should be done in a dry? But see, that's the hallmark of a character. He said, don't weep for me, baby. Because if they're doing this to me and I produce fruit, oh boy, what's going to happen to you when you wither up and you don't produce nothing? And he said anything that don't produce fruit should be thrown away and burnt. He said, I've set you for a tower and a fortress among my people, that you may know and trot their way. That tower and that fortress, right? The name of Yahuwah is a strong tower, and those that run into it are safe. So he said he's a fortress, and he might try you so he can know the way that you go. See, that goes back to many a time of why this man tries you, so he can see what's in your heart, so he can see what you're going to do. That goes back to what we've been talking about with the beast and what the end is all about with idolatry, to try you. What are you going to do? It's real easy to say that you love Yahuwah until your metal get tested. See, that's going to go back when we go back and read Luke chapter 12. He said there, listen to what he said about these people. They are all grievous revolters, walking with slanderers. They're all brass and iron. They're all corrupters. This man sit back and say these people rebel. Let's just get the exact definition. Let's just do that. You seen that man that joint back too, man? That Black Panther, man. Somebody want to put it on hoodie. The nigga want a hoodie. And get jiggy with it. Abigail. Let's look at revolters, right? It's Sarar. It's someone who is stubborn and rebellious. You got some mock and double washes for that, but we'll move on. That's somebody. So he sit back and say they're all stubborn and rebellious. And grievous is people who turn aside and remove away. So they like to remove away. They like to turn around and do what they want and rebel. He said you walk with slanderers. Slanderers is recall. And you know what that is? That's a snitch. Y'all ever heard? How many of y'all familiar with that verse that say be a talebearer? You familiar with that? Oh, you're not familiar with that? That's in the law. Come over here to Leviticus 19 if you're not familiar. See, a lot of people say talebearing, and what they say that mean there, when people talk about don't be a talebearer, what they say that mean? No, I'm talking about regular people. People who don't really know no better. You know, Michael? What about you, Shayla? No, they say don't be a talebearer. 19 to 16. Do you know what the average person say a talebearer is? The average person say that this verse refers to gossip. Gossiping is usually giving information that you don't have any knowledge of. You might not necessarily be slandering someone. But a talebearer is someone who slanders. Y'all know what a slander is. You know what a slander is, don't you guys? You just slander somebody in your time. Yeah. I wasn't even referring to you, but I appreciate that. She said, shoot. She said, I don't know about her, but not me. She said, I don't lie on that. But it can also be somebody who was an informer. That's what Judas was. He was a talebearer because he informed. He told. He was a rat. You know, a rat is the lowest form of human being. Lowest form of human being. You know why a rat is the lowest form of human being? Because you participated in whatever it was that the people that you ratted on. The consequences come, and now you want to tell on the people that you partook in that, you are worthy of death. That's why every individual who claim they are serving Elohim, who will tell on the servants of Elohim when faced with death or prison, deserves hell. They deserve it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're the worst kind of rat. You're a horrible individual. You should not have been born. The doctor should have strangled you with your umbilical cord. Leviticus 19 and 16, you shall not go up and down as a talebearer among your people, neither shall you stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am Yahuwah. He said, don't you be going up and down the street lying on people. And see, you know what a lot of people who in their word call talebearing, that a nigga done did something foul and it gets spoke about. That's not talebearing if you did it. If a nigga caught you smoking crack, if somebody caught you stealing out somebody's room, they not talebearing on you. You did that. You did that. But if somebody say you around here worshiping idols in the back room, participating in witchcraft, and you not doing that, that's a talebearer. Because you care. Y'all know what tales are, they lies. Some of y'all like tall tales when you was a little child. Like to read the faith of Jeremiah 6. Still. I like me a good old Jack and the Beanstalk story. Say, I ain't even got to read them to my kids. I read them to me. You be in the back reading Rapunzel, don't you? Come on back, man. 6 and 29. He said, the bellows are burned, the lead is consumed to fire, the founder melt in vain, for the wicked are not plucked away. Reprobate silver shall men call them, because Yahuwah have rejected them. The word for reprobate is mas. It means to refuse and to reject, to have contempt, despise, disdain, and loathe. Someone who is reprobate is someone that Yahuwah utterly despises. And you can take your hand at this one. You got Meme, you got Olive, and you got Samah. So when somebody's reprobate, they've been rejected. Meme, Olive, and Samah. You can come over here to Romans 1 and 25, because I forgot if people here don't know what it is to be reprobate. Or 1 and 27. Well, 25 is fine. But what y'all come up with, man, me, Olive, and Samah, remember you're dealing with somebody who's been rejected. So I would recommend you say that one up. I would recommend you look at something that's going to cause you to be rejected. You're definitely going to have something if you turn it. See, it's not even that people even question the word per se. Because sometimes we say people be questioning the word, but they really don't be questioning though. It really be underlying hatred. And they just use the question to cover up the hatred. I can roll with that one there, because that's definitely going to get you. Because even still, that's what gets you rejected. You grab hold to the strength of sin, and that's what gets you cut off. Because you reject, but see, the point is, if you grab hold of that, you've rejected him, so therefore he will reject you. They come over here to Roman 1 and 25. See, one thing for certain, I've been telling y'all this for years, man. See, we get caught up. You meet people, this, that, that, and the third. Man, look here, man. You got to give people time when you deal with this here. Boy, niggas don't really be believing it for real. People don't be believing it for real. And you thinking, oh, I found me somebody, they like the word, and this, that, that, and the third, and I'm friends. Man, niggas be caps. Niggas be caps. I'll be honest with you, man. They probably take about a good minimum of 2 years to really know if somebody really want to do it. If you don't have a high level of ability to discern attributes and traits of somebody who got low faith and somebody who just don't want to do it, and it's just something they're doing for the moment to pass time. Huh? I mean that, but then shoot, but shoot, just in general. I say if you're dealing with a woman with a word, shoot, man, you got to give her at least about 2.5, 3 years. You know what I'm saying? At least 2.5 to 3 years to even be. The reason why I say that is because usually when you first jump in the word, you're not getting tried, you're not getting tested. And so you're not going to know if somebody's going to lean on Elohim in a time of adversity. You know what I'm saying? So you have to see that. Especially if a man talking about choosing a woman, you have to see her ability to handle that when her faith gets tested. When your faith ain't even really that strong yet. You know what I'm saying? But ain't no different with no dude. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, dudes be capping too. If that's what somebody want to do. You know what I'm saying? And shoot, I ain't been that inaccurate. But it's not based off of personal opinion. It's just based off the words that come out of individuals' mouths, type of conversations that they have, and their actions. I would leave me like, yeah, that nigga.
I feel like just when you first, I know but I was like,
no, you didn't want to. Your flesh didn't want to. When the first time you called, and when you actually put your feet in the ground, don't roll your eyes. It was about a good 6, 7 months, maybe a year. But see, but the thing is though is I don't really count stuff like that, because you coming at somebody with information that's drastically different from, number one, the vision that you done crafted for your life, especially a woman, because y'all been to map your whole life out till you 40. You know what I'm saying? Men don't do that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just trying to get to tomorrow. I got short-term and long-term goals, but I'm just trying to really get to tomorrow. Then you have that type of mentality as a man, because your friends died. A lot of y'all friends don't die in their youth for y'all to have that type of mindset. You know what I'm talking about? The whole mind change when you know when you 16, 17 years, like you had a nigga funeral. regardless of how he died. You know what I'm talking about? No, you don't be sitting there, when I'm 29, I'm gonna do this. And shoot, nigga, I'm just hoping I see 21. See, y'all don't have that reality. You know what I'm saying? And that's why y'all get the expectation in a life that you could never meet. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing I told you how y'all craft a image of a man in your head that he can never meet. He can't never meet that. And you ain't even conveyed to this man that you view him in this process. So then when he don't do the things that you done created in your mind that he's gonna do, then you mad at him. My son, he don't even know about it. You know what I'm saying? And men don't operate like that, man. They be like, well, shoot, if I set this benchmark, but I made it here, that means I was closer to it than the day that I made that benchmark. You know what I'm saying? What adjustments do I have to make to hit that benchmark? That's how a man mind thinks. You don't get caught up in the moment. I didn't make it here. Why haven't I made it here? Then like, all right, I know why I ain't make it here. Make the necessary adjustments and keep going. That's the difference. That's why no man in his right mind will follow a woman. Why would I follow a creature that would be stumbled up at the smallest hint of failure or lack of exceeding benchmarks? I can't follow that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to throw off my morale because I'm going to be caught up when you caught up in something. That's detrimental to the whole organization. That's why y'all don't want to follow no man who like that. This nigga off the cut crying. What you crying for? I was supposed to make 100,000. I only made 75. Well, nigga, you made 75. Like you're supposed to set stuff that's like grossly unattainable, and also but having stuff that's know that it's attainable to push you to strive after that, knowing that you're not gonna get that. But that's not the point. You know what I'm saying? It's to push you to where you're closer to, that's where you want to be. So you're dealing with word individuals that now this is not an unattainable benchmark. The benchmark is to be perfected in Mashiach and enter in the kingdom. But individuals don't have that benchmark when they step in. So when they don't have the success that they believe that they should have, then they get frustrated and they walk away. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about this the other day. I done had several women in my time ask me why women don't have the spirit. A woman doesn't have the spirit. It is not less inclined to get the spirit than a man is. I say the only difficulty that you might face over a man is your proclivity to emotionalism. You know what I'm saying? So you might have to work a little bit harder to rein in your emotions and crucify them. But outside of that, it's not more difficult for a woman than it is for a man. It's just that niggas don't believe. You're not gonna get the benefit of something that you don't believe in. That's why he give you the fruit of your thoughts. So he give you the fruit and the results of your plots, plans, and inventions because your thoughts are contrary to you getting the very thing that you say that you want to possess. You know what I'm talking about? So you're not gonna get that. And that's how individuals ended up grabbing hold to the power of sin and get rejected. Because instead of like doing what it said in Zechariah 8:23, you're going to grab hold to the skirt of your own stupidity. That's why the world out of chaos now, because the women and the children don't want to grab hold to the strong man. They only want to grab hold to the strong man to pull the strong man down to their level. And then niggas allow people to do that. You never allow anyone less to pull you down to them. That's asinine and insane. Nehemiah told you that, didn't he tell you that? He said, I'm doing a great work. I can't come down to you. You got to come up here to me. And see what the individuals happen is because you got to come up here to me. You don't want to do the work necessary. You don't want to do that work to come up to him. And the work is not even hard. It's just work. That's why a lot of people don't achieve success because it's disguised as work. Instead of just doing it. Look at man, there's no such thing as a perfect start in anything. When you came to serve the Lord, you didn't have no perfect start. You was a sinner. Did that stop you because everything wasn't lined up like you thought it was supposed to be lined up? No. That's no different than starting a business. I done told you that for years. If you start a business waiting for everything to be perfect, you'll be waiting 30 years because you'll never start. You just have to go. You know what I'm saying? You just have to go. But that is in belief and confidence. If you don't have belief and confidence in yourself and what you're doing, then you're not going to start. And that's why a lot of people don't start serving the Lamb because they don't have belief and confidence in him, so they don't start. Yeah, they may be around, They may use vernacular. You know what I'm talking about? They may say names, but they're not actually going to start doing the work necessary. And that's how you miss out. When I say miss out, I'm talking about on the gift of life and the peace and joy that can only come from the spirit of Elohim. But let's continue. Romans 1:20. And the last, because the last, as we were talking about, which we're going to go back into greater detail in Numbers 5, and we're going to do that as soon as I read this Romans 1, is to eliminate all of those things so that you can be perfect. Since you had a roadblock, quote unquote, for you to start the race, and he was like, you know what? Let me get the roadblock out the way then what's going to be your excuse for not starting? So you deal with people who driven, they don't really be wanting to hear the stuff that you can come up with or why you don't start something. And they definitely don't want to hear it when you don't finish it. Because what did he tell you in Luke 14? He said, lest they begin to mock you and say this man began to build, but he was not able to finish. You know what I'm talking about? If you're going to start something, then you need to put your nose to the grindstone and finish it. Start something, you ain't got no intentions on finishing it. That's what a lot of people do. Not just with the word, but in life, period. You start stuff and you started it, and you knew when you started it that you had no intentions on finishing. Now I can't speak for all women, but I know for men, if he's a man and he starts something, he starts it with the intent on finishing. He doesn't start something with the intent to discard that unless situations or circumstances arise, and he doesn't necessarily stop, but he pivots. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you have to have the ability to think on the fly and pivot on the move. See, in life, sometimes you can't always sit back and be so analytical and let me research this and research that and research that and research that when you're in the midst of a battle. Sometimes you have to make a decision right there in the middle of the battle. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to have that luxury to stop. You got to be able to pivot. That's why the word got to be in your heart. You think when you get tempted or tested, you're going to have the ability to go back and open up a Bible or call somebody or go in your app. Let me find a verse for that. No, you got to be able to know it so you can pivot on the spot. Or as they like to call it, the ability to adjust. Sometimes situations and circumstances change and you have to have the ability to adjust. And the people who are most successful adjust quickly with no hesitation. And they have to live with the decision. See, most of us don't want to do stuff because you don't want to live with the regret of a bad decision. You have to live with the decision. Adjust and move on. Now with this word, we can't make no bad decisions. So that's why you have to lay it up in your heart. You won't have that problem. Romans 1:25. Who changed the truth of Elohim into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, Elohim gave them up unto vile affections. Their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. You know what that means? Monica, you know what that means? You know what he's telling? Shada, you know what he just told you? Michael, you know what he just told you? I'm just asking this here for those that I know that may not know. I wager the rest of you should know. To an extent, but he was talking about lesbians. Elohim gave them up unto vile, which is just defiled, corrupt desires. For even the women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. Well, the next verse will make it clear for you. Likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burning their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which would be. So he said to people burning their lust, he said, you know what? I want a butt. He said, you know what? I'm going to let you have it. Oh, you want to put on a strap on talking about how much penis you want? You think you're a man? I'm going to let you be like that. The whole world like that because nobody wants to operate according to the natural order. Men don't want to be men and be husbands and leaders. You know what I'm talking about? Women don't want to be mothers and wives. When you were created by the living Elohim for one purpose and one purpose alone, that was to be a helpmeet to a man and to have his kids and help him raise them. And when see what you know what always happens with people who operate outside their natural order, they're miserable. And your life is always empty and void because you're looking to fill that void with something other than what it was intended to be filled with. Because you don't seem to take that as an accomplishment to do what Elohim created you to do. Because you don't let Mr. Charlie tell you if you're able to attain some degrees, if you're able to get a certain amount of money and start a business and do that there, then that validates you as a woman. And you just got to see just like Eve got to see, because it looks like it was a tree that made one wise. It was delightful to the eyes. You got God. He waved some shiny stuff in your face, and you got God. Because you esteem that greater than what Yahuwah esteemed for you to do. As I say, man, if we would have went back, if we go back, maybe not even 100 years, if we only went back to the 40s and 50s, you wouldn't hear women talking about, I need a break for my kids. Because the women delighted in their job. But they were raised that way, though. They were raised that way, though. And that's the difference. You wouldn't hear no man, Shalom, man, you wouldn't hear no man talking about, man, I got to take care of this woman and do this, that, there, and the third. Because he was raised that way. So he would already know this is a sacred responsibility that you're about to take on. And if you don't want it, then don't take it. Because you got grown men talking about how they do this job, nigga. But we've been there told you that. You don't get thanks and a pat on the back for doing what you're supposed to do. You just don't. Why should somebody pat you on the back because you cooked and cleaned your house and raised your children? That's what you're supposed to do. You laid down and made them, didn't you? They're your responsibility, ain't it? So you don't get no points for that. That's just like us saying, keep God's laws. You're supposed to. You don't get no points for that. You're doing what you're supposed to do. But the thing is when you find out what you're supposed to do, you only doing it because you feel like you have to and not because you want to. If you don't want to do it, then you'll never enjoy what you're doing. It's a chore for you. And that's why those conversations had to be had. Because if you know you don't want to have no kids, then you don't need to get married ever. When I say not have kids, I mean if you know you don't want to raise them, if you don't want to be with them, if you don't want to teach them, if you don't want to do all those things that job calls for, don't take it. If you don't want to nurture a woman, you know what I'm talking about? If you don't want to teach her, if you don't want to, if you can't understand her frame, as simple as that, don't take the job. Don't take a job and then complain about the job after you took it. Because that means either you're an idiot. Verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Elohim, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So he said, not only do these people do it, but they take pleasure in people who do it also. And you can always tell the godly from the wicked in that regard, because the wicked will always take delight in what the wicked do. They'll always take delight in it. Come over here to number 5. Flip your hand over. It's a harsh truth. But you know why it's a harsh truth when it comes to you? Because he a man, and most of us have never encountered a man in our lives to understand how a man operates, and that a man ain't with it. Not at least what you think he's going to be with. That's why a lot of times, that's another reason why a lot of people are offended at Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? Because he's a man. And you thinking a man's fault, and I ain't talking about just one woman, I'm talking about all people, male or female. No specific gender, all people. You think a man's supposed to do this and do that, and men don't do that. At least not Elohim. No, he don't do that. And the main thing that we look for, male or female, in this current dispensation of time, is someone who's going to cater to your feelings and desires. And men don't do that. There's a difference from hearing your feelings and desires and catering to them. Because who is not going to cater to you? Come on back over here, man. Verse 14, man. Number 5, man. We got to finish this one out. 8:24. I think I could do it in 36 minutes. Numbers 5 and 14. Real willing, like little Afro baby. Little Afro baby. You little Afro baby. Numbers 5 and 14. And the ruach of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled. Or if the ruach of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled. I want you to come over here. Let's look at jealousy. Let me ask y'all this. How y'all feel about somebody who you would deem to be? See, there's a difference, right? What he calling the spirit of jealousy is what somebody would call, in this time, intuition, that your mate is fooling with somebody other than you. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what that's talking about. They say the spirit of jealousy. You feel like she did something she ain't got no business. I want you to look at jealousy. It's kana, right? It's ardor, it's zeal, it's jealousy. You got kuf, you got noon, you got olive, and you have hay. Kuf, noon, olive, and hay. Oh, well, you got to ask your mama that. And since you over here, you won't have the opportunity to do that. That is correct, sir. Yes, sir. It's kuf, noon, olive, and hay. So remember this ordinance, if you would, is in regards to determining if a man feels this way, if that spirit has come upon him, whether this woman is clean or whether this woman is untamah, I should say, and that's someone who has become unpure. And that's tet, mean, and olive. So when you sit back on that one there, you've been strengthened by the sin of the snake. Because when you're dealing with the serpent, you're going to be unclean off the top. That's why you have to forsake him. Or as James wrote in his epistle, to resist the devil, and he'll do what? He'll flee from you. See, one thing for certain and two things for sure. You like this here, right? And I done told women this all the time. If you want to know if a man really gonna fool with you, you'll know that if he stick around and he can't have sex with you. And he still deal with you. Because if a man only wants you for your body, he's not gonna stick around if he can't get it. You ain't gonna stick around for a year or 2, 3 years to lay with you. He's not gonna do it. He gonna slide. If he already know that he can't do that and he fool with you and he stay there, that he fool with you. But see, that's not something that you've been told. So you think, I know women that have thought, well, you don't want me because you won't have sex with me. Because that's what they tied a man's desire to. But that's a miseducation on their part. Somebody ain't told you better. Ain't nobody loves you. So you felt like if that didn't occur, that means that man found you contemptible. Because it's also an intrinsic thing that you feel like that's your only value and benefit that you have to give to a man. It's your body. You don't have anything else that you can give it. See, anybody can give their body away. That's nothing. Shoot, prostitutes do that every day. But what it was, kuf, noon, olive, and hay. Oh, that capping you be doing. No, you be capping. See, it's always ways to see if people actually fool with you without being emotionally and mentally manipulative to figure that out. Because that's what he said by he tries everybody according to their way. You know what I'm talking about? See, who is not going to emotionally and mentally and spiritually manipulate you to see if you roll with him or not. As that saying goes, sometimes he just allow you to do what you want to do to see what you would choose to do. Or have you in a situation where you have the opportunity to do what you want to do versus what you ought to do to see which one you choose. See, a lot of people in this world, they do manipulative things, male and female, to see if somebody fool with them. You catch somebody doing that, it's probably best for you to go ahead and cut them off. But what y'all got for me, Coop Noon, Olive and Hay? I bet you would, Flex. Huh? I can't come up with no. For Coop? Coop. There's Coop Noon. Not Coop. Noon. Olive and Hay. See, well, hey, you could probably say word. But Noon, you could probably say seed. But Olive, you might could say strong. But Cooper, what you coming at? What you got light? You got last? Got fun? See, for me personally, I would probably say light. Because you'll see that the power of the word is going to shed light on what is your strength. Let me show you why I say it'll shed light on what is your strength. See, Romans chapter 6, if you would. I need 6 and 16. You can make it 15 on general principles. We come right back to number 5 because I got 28 minutes. Buffett man. Tubby boy. Romans 6 and 15. What then shall we sin because we are not under the law but under grace? Elohim forbid. Know you not to whom you yield your servants to obey? His servants you are to whom you obey, whether sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness. But Elohim be thanked that you were the servant, but you have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered to you, being made free from sin, you became the servants of righteousness. So you see what he said? Whichever one you yield yourself to, that's who you serve. That's going to be the strength. And that word going to reveal it. That's what you're looking at with that jealousy. Because remember, he's saying he's a jealous Elohim. So he's jealous over individuals who's supposed to be keeping his word, but have yielded to the adversary. And that's what this ruach of jealousy is going to manifest. Come on back to number chapter 5. Of course, we talked about this stuff briefly on last night. But now we have to go all the way through it as we ought. Verse 15 of Numbers 5, then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest. Then she shall bring her offering for her, the 10th part of an ephah or a barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon. For it is the offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity to remembrance. Now, can anybody tell me how that relates to the gospel? Y'all should know what memorial is. That's wrong to remember. But I want you to look at it here. And it's the same thing for you got Zakar, which is to remember to call to mind, because it's up under the other word Zekron that's used for remembrance or for memorial. Of course, memorial is a reminder or remembrance, a memorable thing, a day of writing, a memorial, a record. Now, gospel-wise, who can tell me why that you will not pour any oil or frankincense on the offering of jealousy for you to remember your iniquity? See, it might stump you a little bit because you're going to be like, no, but this happened. So how could that be? Then you have to look at when it happened versus what happened when dealing with Yahusha in regards of not pouring oil.
When he resurrected,
Oh no, after that one, there, the offer's already been made. Brought on the pilot. I can give you that there. See, what did occur in Matthew chapter 26 that made his apostles a tad bit upset with him? When Mary went anointing him. See, that was before they came and got him. But when they came and got him, did anybody pour any oil on him whatsoever? Because he has to be that offering of, because you got to remember, right? He said it's a memorial, something that you remember. See, Paul, 2 Corinthians chapter 5. Let's see if you remember. Matter of fact, don't even say 2 Corinthians 5. It's actually 1 Corinthians 5. I guess we can look at it. So let me ask you this. No, you're supposed to keep it right as a what? As a remembrance or a memorial for an offering. You know what I'm talking about? For an offering. You remember, so guess what? That lets you know when you see that stinking nigga pull the move that he pulled, and what you ain't gonna do. Oh no, cuz you ain't gonna get me with that one. You're not gonna get me with that one. You not, but see again, this is why you gotta possess the word, aka have the ruach inside of you, because you will not be moved by emotions, thoughts, feelings, or events that go on around you. You're only gonna be moved by what the word says. And that's it. That's how you don't get deceived. How many times did Mashiach say, I done told you before, don't let nobody deceive? Like he ain't say, I'm not going to let you deceive you. Did he say, I'm not going to let you do it? Or he say, you better not let nobody do it. He said, you better let not nobody lie to you. So if somebody get over on you, nigga, that's your fault. And you should already know that because your daddy should have taught you that. And if he didn't tell you that, then somebody should have told you that. Because can't nobody get over on you. You let people get over on you. Because guess what? Eve knew she was getting game ran on her. But that, man, let me tell you something, man. Most people who get game ran on them, they know they getting game ran on them. They just want to believe it. They just want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to believe that it's a lie. You know how people say everybody play the fool? Everybody don't necessarily play the fool. You played yourself. Because you didn't want to believe what was in front of you. But see, then you just got to accept the fact that you deceived yourself and move on with your life. Like I would tell you the other day, right? My homeboy hit me up years ago. He's like, yeah, man, I need this, I need that. I know this nigga smoking dope. He told my boy, I got to serve, boy, now. Let me get such and such, man. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let him think he getting over. So I ain't got to deal with him. So there's somebody on the outside, they going to look at, I just shot this boy 5 rocks, $100 worth of dope. And they probably think, boy, that nigga smoke dope, boy, that nigga just got it. No, he ain't getting it. I let him think that because I don't want to fool with you no more. And I'd rather lose $50 and not fool with you no more than to keep going on and have to be aggravated with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not gonna do it. Sometimes you gotta let people think they getting over so they can expose themselves and remove themselves from your presence on their own. See, but that's wisdom though. Sometimes you gotta know when to call somebody out, and sometimes you gotta know when to let somebody play themselves and let them think they getting over. Cause niggas always running game all the time. You used to run game in your time. You look like a nigga like to try to run game, but it wasn't good. Yeah, you don't look like you tell lies too well. Johnny, she lied well. Is that accurate? I see, I wasn't wrong. Come on, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 5, man. You know what? I don't even want that, man. Come over here to 11, man. 1 Corinthians 11. I don't need that. I can't do nothing with that. I can't get jiggy with that. 1 Corinthians 11 and 23. So who is? Well, that's your baby. That boy sounds like he constipated. For I have received of the Lord that which I was delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua same night in which he was betrayed took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do you in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do you as oft as you drink it in remembrance of me. Because guess what you remember? When you was remembering Passover, that's what you remember. Remember, that's what that ruach and jealousy is for. So that offering that woman got to bring. That offering you bringing in this sense is the blood, the wine, and the bread. And technically, you bring Yahusha, but you didn't have to bring it because his father brought it. So, you know, that's just theoretically, not actuality. Back to Numbers chapter 5, though. Where I stop at? Verse 15. We in verse 16. Listen to what it say, right? And the priest shall bring her near and set her before Yahuwah. The priest shall take Kadash water in an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take and put it into the water. Now pause. Now you got to sit back and think, right? What can this mean? The priest will take Kadash water in an earthen vessel. Can you tell me what that means? Why are you looking like that? Oh, you were finna call your child and then you was gassed. I can't answer that question. Little Johnny, can you tell me what that means? And I'm just talking about the priest taking set apart water and putting it in an earthen vessel. That first part. They give me the first part. Now you got to come a little better than that. You got to come a little better than that. What about you, Darius? I can't hear you. He was saying but when did that occur? When did that occur? That's where you get that way. You take that Kadah water and put it in an earthen vessel. Remember what Paul, when Yahushua got baptized by John the Baptist and the Ruach descended from heaven and rested upon him. That's when you took Kadesh water and put it in an earthen vessel. Because how is the Spirit described in John? How he described it? John 7:38. Y'all know how he described that? Say, he that believe on me, as the scripture has said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you sit back on that, right? Who is the priest that put that God's water in him? That's his father. If you want to look at it in the fleshly sense, then it's John the Baptist, because he was a priest, because he was a Levite. Now he say, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take and put it in the water. Well, you already know he made man from the dust of the ground. Now you can turn around, take that. That's Elohim. Didn't he though? Newborn baby. Verse 18. And the priest shall set the woman before Yahuwah and uncover the woman's head. Can you tell me how that woman's head was uncovered in regard to Yahushua? Can you tell me how that woman's head was uncovered? What does Paul tell you about what happened if a woman's head is uncovered while she pray or prophesy? She is a disgrace. She is ashamed. So now it says that this woman shall be uncovered. He shall uncover the woman's head. No, sir. How does that relate to Yahushua? Anybody on the stream can answer these questions at any time that they desire. Now remember, I want you to sit back and look at this here, right? It says the priest shall set the woman before you and uncover the woman's head. So the first thing you got to ascertain, who is the priest that set the woman before you? Numbers 5 and 18. No, Pilot's not a priest. Chief priests and scribes are the ones who set him before Yahuwah. Now, how was he uncovered? He was uncovered before he got on the stage. He was uncovered before he got on the crown. Hey man, left him naked. Now he uncovered. His shame. What does the text tell you when somebody's shame, naked disappear? They sin is exposed. That's why he was stripped out his clothes. That he representative of our nakedness. Because pause. So let's look at it this way. Where they grabbed the Lord from when they came and got him? From the garden. What happened when Adam and them sinned? No, they were naked. So it makes sense that Yahushua got to get stripped butt naked. And what does the law tell you? What happened when you naked? Your sin is exposed. But it wasn't Yahushua's sin that was exposed. It was Yahshua's sin that was exposed. And again, he's telling you the end from the beginning. Because when we look back at Genesis, we look at what we're talking about with this man crucifixion, the beginning being told at the end. That's why I told little buddy that when I was talking to him. I'm like, bro, you talking this, that, then the third. I'm like, yo, I don't need to go in the book of the New Testament to preach the gospel to you, son. And truth be told, I can preach the whole Old Testament in the gospel, son. What are you talking about? And that's not no boasting. That's just a gift of Elohim. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to be able to do. If you say you know the testimony of Yahushua, that means you can tell me the whole story of Genesis and his death. You can tell me the beginning at the end. Just like you could go to Genesis and tell me the end at the beginning, because that's how he said it, so you can know that he is the first and the last, and that he is him that is alive and that was dead and that's alive forevermore. That is the mystery of godliness, or the secret of the fear of Elohim. The Elohim was manifested in the flesh and justified in the Ruach. That's how you won't get God when the beast get resurrected from the dead, because he won't be judged righteous according to the breath of Elohim. You won't get fooled. Like we were talking about last night. They done deified Kobe, deified Nipsey Hussle, deified Tupac. Man, screw every last one of them whole niggas. And you know why I say that? Because at the end of the day, we can enjoy whatever it is that they had going on. But at the root core, nigga, you an enemy of my household. So what type of regard can I really hold you in? That's anybody who's an enemy of Elohim. You're an enemy of my household. Ain't now one of y'all gonna walk around here and be buddy-buddy with somebody who disrespect your father. Not if you say you love it. Why you think the old nigga, I done told you before, why you think the old nigga don't even want to be so bad? Don't even want to be in their presence. You know what I'm talking about? Because they know this nigga here's a hoe, and he know your daddy going, if your daddy's a man, he gonna expose the hoe in it. See, now if your daddy's a hoe, then they just gonna get along, because hoe niggas say, hey, yes, and all that other type of stuff that hoe niggas like to do. And what they gonna do? Okay. Straight up, get rid of cheat, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't gonna tell you what nothing but what God loves. Look at right here, man, back in verse 18. Put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering, and the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that caused the curse. What is the bitter water? The gall. Let's go look at it, Matthew 27. You like the gall? You don't even know what that is, though. You don't want that. I got you rubbing the chin. So did. I be in the club dancing, too. What? With the bottle. Ain't even bought it. All y'all, some of y'all know y'all used to be in there getting dudes to buy you bottles of liquor. You like this here. I'm finna duck out on that nigga. He looking for me. 27-33. She be like, run interference, girl, run interference. Cause y'all know full well if a nigga done bought you some alcohol, boy, that nigga looking for you when the mic come on. Okay, I might as well laugh at you. Who you telling? Look at y'all ducking out. He seen me. But see, you know what that is? That's what you get for taking drinks from it. See, that's what nigga be doing. He like, well, I buy her some drinks, but I know she gonna let me smash it in. That's how nigga be thinking. They be that on it. Nigga go home mad. Now he gotta look at the TV and that lotion. Hey, I let that. Y'all like this here, but shoot, what minute dude done went home dead from that club? Boy, he thinking, well, I done got her drunk. Well, I'm gonna get me some tonight. I know she gonna give me a number. Boy, I'm gonna go back to the house. That's why nigga give y'all alcohol and release your sexual inhibitions. You be wild and free. Niggas ain't giving you alcohol because they want to drink with you. Nigga watching you drink, he ain't even sipping that. Yeah, he biding the time. I know she want to get freak out of this here. Straight up. Look at Alicia. She like this here. Hey, that's how that nigga got me. Same thing with drugs. Nigga be like this here. Nigga don't even get. Nigga ain't even getting high. He ain't even hitting the weed hard. He's steady getting it to you. He's like, I know she's gonna be ready after this here. Then when you're like, oh, I gotta go, I gotta get up early. Nigga, I'm gonna kill this hoe. Nigga be, I'm gonna kill this hoe. It is funny because you, to truth be told, thank the Lord, y'all ain't never been assaulted. Playing with niggas, drugs, and alcohol. I'm telling you, niggas backed up like a doggone bad toilet too. Nigga liable to explode, man. You be on the evening news. But see, y'all don't know that because y'all be thinking these boys be slaying. You be wondering why niggas be cussing you out, calling y'all out your name when you don't talk to them. These boys doing bad out here. Y'all think it's a game. Matthew 27:33. And when they were coming to the place called Golgotha, that is to say, the place of the skull, they gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall. And when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. So after he tasted, he said he didn't want it. But see, come back over here to John 19. Little Captain Baby. Little Captain Baby. They said the boys ain't got no sauce shoot. Most of them don't. They ain't no lie. 1928. That one thing I ain't never did, but you ain't forget the weed for me. You gotta catch me when I just feel like smoking. You there. If you think I'm finna try to get you high for some yams, I'd rather have my reef. That's how I felt. I'd rather have my reef. Your coochie don't compare to the reef. I spend money on that. Oh, they say your homegirl debating tonight. Who you got? Who you got? Niggas should walk up there and spit dead in Kamala Harris' face. She ought to get slayed, literally. Lying bastard. That woman done gave out more incarceration years than the average district attorney. Do that hoe. 1928. After this, Yahushua, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, say, I thirst. Now there was a set of vessel full of vinegar, and filled the sponge with vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth. And when Yahushua therefore had received the vinegar, he said, it is finished. Let's go back. I got 7 more minutes. I ain't gonna make it. I ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna have to roll it over. I ain't gonna make it. Not the whole chat. I ain't gonna make it. Yes, sir. Oh, this would say gave up the ruach, gave up his breath. He gave up his breath. Now let's go back to verse 19 of Numbers chapter 5. I want you to think about that, right? Numbers 5:19. And the priest shall charge her by an oath, and say unto the woman, if no man have lain with you, and you have not gone aside unto uncleanness with another instead of your husband, be you free from this bitter water that caused the curse. Now let me ask you this here, right? Did Pilate ask Yahushua if he sinned or not? And what did Yahushua say? He said absolutely nothing. He said absolutely nothing. When Pilate kept pressing him, he said, don't you know I got power to release you? He said, well, you ain't got no power at all over me. What? Said to be given to you from heaven. I knew that might have thrown y'all. He didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing. Verse 20. He said, but if you've gone aside unto instead of your husband, if you be defiled, and some men have lain with you besides your husband. Now, Paul, let's look at Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah Bird. You finna read Jeremiah 3. You know who Jeremiah is? Who is Jeremiah? Jeremiah James Bird. Oh, that's you? No, we talking about the proper Jeremiah this go round. You are Amariah. You're not Jeremiah. Are you Jeremiah? Are you sure? Oh, call you Amariah? Yeah, you're fine. I don't think your name's Josiah, son.
Name me Josiah.
You sure about that?
Josiah is my friend.
He's Spanish?
No, he's not Spanish. Not Spanish.
Oh, he's not Spanish.
He's not Spanish.
Oh, so he's a gringo.
No, he's not.
Oh.
He's a kid.
Oh, so he's a baby goat.
No, he's a kid.
So he's a baby goat.
No, he's a kid.
So he's a baby goat.
Yeah. Right. No, but he's a kid.
Okay. Jeremiah 3:1. They say, if a man put away his wife and she shall go from him and become another man, shall he return unto again? Shall not the land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers and return again to me, saith Yahuwah. Let your eyes be up unto the high places and see where you have not been lain, and the ways that you sat for them as the Arabian in the wilderness. You have polluted the land with your whoredoms and with your wickedness. Therefore, the showers have been withholden, and there have been no latter rain. No ruach for you. You don't get no ruach. That's hard. And also that show you that's why niggas don't get right, because you defiling yourself, you doing evil, so he withhold the rain. He said, but you have a whore's forehead. You refuse to be ashamed. See, that's the hallmark of a whore. He tell you that in Proverbs, an adulterous woman wipe her mouth and say, I've done no evil, because you refuse to be ashamed. I've been telling you for years, girl, you're not a whore because you sleep around. See, you could be with one man and be a whore. By the way you think. I've been telling you for years, Beyonce is the largest whore on the face of the earth. She may not sleep with nobody other than Jay-Z as far as we know, but in the lifestyle that she leads, that's highly unlikely. But that woman is a whore. See, niggas so worried about Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion teaching your daughter to be a whore. Beyonce taught you to be a whore by telling you you could replace your man. That's how a whore thinks. If you wanted it, put a ring on it and got you, this hoe got a husband. You ain't got one. You know what I'm talking about? These just ain't no songs. This whole casting spells on you. And guess what? Almost every black woman on the face of the earth loves this thinking whore and will kill you behind her. And she's been teaching generations of young girls to be a whore. And the thing was, when her career started, you know, they didn't sing about that type of stuff. They crept it in on you real smooth like. No, I'm talking about their first album, when they had Wyclef. See, Wyclef was their first producer. He was in their first video and all that. But that first album, they ain't come with that. But by the time that second album came, with Bills, and I'm a Survivor and all that there, they creeped it up on me. Look at it. These like, I saw that in the mirror every night. That's how she was looking. I see that every day. I have my comb. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Kelly Rowland. I already know. Lisa, like, I wouldn't want to be with Cher. That's what you are. I want to be Michelle. That was your verse? Oh, look at her. See how she turned around and tell you, how you gonna tell somebody you gonna cater to your man, and then the next time I can get rid of you? Casting a spell on you. Like Sean said, that beta programming. It's all the same. That raggedy hole part of it, it's all the same. I'm talking about she probably got her a nice little place in the Valley of Tophet for all the witchcraft she's been doing. Because she ought to die, that's what the law say. But you don't kill her physically, you kill her with that word. You kill her with that word. You destroy that image. You don't put your hands on her physically. What was that? Jeremiah 3? Come on back to Numbers 5. Because we can keep on rolling. Hold on, matter of fact. Pick it up at verse 8 of Jeremiah 3, man. She said Beyonce training up the next woman to be with you. Shoot, ain't no thank. She's been doing that for a good 20 years. She said you can keep it. I wouldn't know. I remember a dude on my page that I went to school with. He said every man got a favorite Beyonce song, and I was like, you know what? I don't. No, he was saying like you don't gotta like her music. He just saying like it's one song. It just don't come to my mind. Did she do something? I was surprised that there were songs that were passable on the album she did with Jay, because I do not like to hear that woman at all in any capacity. And it ain't nothing personal. I just don't like her music. Who said ain't nothing wrong with her? Oh, Alicia, you take it up for that slut? Take her. You take it up for that whore? Well, when you have that baby, we're gonna whoop you. We're gonna put the belt on your leg. We're gonna let your husband spank your raw cheeks. You get a whooping for that. You get a whooping for that. That ain't right. Who? What'd you say? Huh? Oh, I'm finna say, because you ain't too old to get no whoop. So can. Y'all know who Halle Bailey and Chloe Bailey is? Or Bailey? No, Kira said child singers like Halle Bailey and Chloe Bailey. I think they were child actors before singers, but she heard them in one of her videos. Wow. Let me go ahead and finish this up. Burn them. That's what they did back then. Burn them. Let me roll on out here. We get out of here, man. Verse 21, right? The priest shall charge the woman with an oath of curse, and the priest shall say unto the woman, Yahuwah make you a curse and an oath among your people. When Yahuwah make your thigh to rot and your belly to swell. Look what he said he'll make it to be a curse and a what? Y'all know what you do with an oath, ain't it? That's a good promise, ain't it? Good covenant. That's number 25. 5 and 21. Listen what it says in verse 22. This water that caused the curse shall go into the bowels and make your belly to swell and your thigh to rot. And the woman shall say, Amen, amen. The priest shall write these curses in a book, and he shall blot them out with a bitter water. And she shall cause the woman to drink the bitter water that caused the curse, and the water that caused the curse shall enter into her and become bitter. And the priest shall take the jealousy offering out of the woman's hand and shall wave the offering before Yahuwah and offer it upon the altar. Now let's look at this here, right? We kind of talked about it already by him bringing the cloud to blot out your transgressions. Well, let's look at Exodus 32 in regards to blotting something out. We over the time. I'm almost done. Exodus 32 and 30. Get up off that floor, little girl. You ain't no baby crawling. You ain't no baby. You ain't no baby. You not no baby. See? Yes, because she can walk. And it came to pass, Exodus 32 and 30, it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said unto the people, you sinned a great sin. Now I will go up unto Yahuwah, and peradventure I shall make atonement for you. Moses returned unto Yahuwah and said, oh, this people have sinned a great sin and have made them gods of gold. Yet now if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of your book which you have written. Yahuwah said unto Moses, whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. And why is that important, right? Because he said he would take that water and do what with them curses? Said he would blot them out. The priest will write these curses in a book. Well, what is the curse that he wrote in the book? That's why he say, should we sin because we're not under the law and under grace? Elohim forbid. The curse that it was put in the book that he blotted out was that. Look at John 8:34. Yeah. See, first and the last told you the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. Hey. No, what I just said? John 8:34. Of a man. John 8:34. Yahushua answered, truly, truly, I say unto you, whosoever commits sin is the servant of sin. The servant abide not in the house forever, but the Son abide forever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. If the Son made you free, what did he free you from? And death. That means he took that bit of water that you seen him drinking John when he said he thirst, and he blotted it out of the book, or the Lamb's book of life. Nevertheless, back to Numbers 5. No. Don't you do it, Joe. Don't you do it, Joe. 5:25. We already read that. 5:26. And the priest shall take a handful of the offering, even the memorial thereof, and burn it upon the altar. And afterwards shall the woman to drink the water. Remember, Mashiach was taken through what? The furnace of affliction. So before he drank that water, he already done had that offering has been set upon the altar, been set on fire. And when he had made her to drink the water, it shall come to pass that she be defiled and have done trespass against her husband, that the water that caused the curse shall enter into her and become bitter, and her belly shall swell, and her thighs shall rot, and the woman shall be accursed among her people. John chapter 19. Because you know Yasharal sin. Remember, right? He became sin. Who knew no sin? You already know you went against your husband. We just read it in Jeremiah chapter 3. John chapter 19. What they like to do with stuff when it swell up. They either like to put something for the swelling to go down, or they bust it open. That goes back to what we were talking about when he ate that roll and made his belly what? Bitter. Well, what made it bitter? Sin, not John's sin, but the sins in the people because of the wrath that Allah was going to bring down on these people here. It's sweet to the taste because the word is good. That's why I say with much wisdom come much what? Sorrow. John chapter 19, verse 31. The burning affliction when they put him up there on that tree. The Yahudim, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the stake on the Shabbat, but as Shabbat was a high day, besought Pilate that the legs might be broken and that they might be taken away. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the others which were crucified with them. But when they came to Yahushua and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and forthwith there came out blood and water. And he saw that it bare record, and his record is true. And he know that he say true, that you might believe. That you might believe. Let's continue back to Numbers chapter 5. Oh yeah, we at the end. We'll get on out of here. Now look at it, right? Say it'll be a curse. Galatians 3:13 on general principle. You can make it 3:11. I'm up. Silence. I'm not playing with you. Silence. But that no man is justified by Torah in the sight of Elohim, it is evident that the just shall live by faith. And the law is not of faith, but the man that do them shall live in them. But Mashiach have redeemed us from the curse of the law. He had made a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is everyone that hang on a tree. And in actuality, in reality, what made Adam cursed? A doggone tree. So it's only right that the curse will be removed by a tree. Because the tree is what got you in trouble in the first place. So he's still telling you the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. All that's for the point that you might believe. Because that made it, because when Adam he didn't hang from that tree, but he hung from that tree because he took something he had no business. And that brought the curse. Because what did he tell you in Genesis 3? Dust you came from, and dust you gonna return. And there go that curse. And there go that curse. So guess what? Once that belly done swole, now he a curse among our people. That's why you can't remember right. He said he can't look upon evil. That man had to become a curse. Shoot, go ahead to Psalm 69 so you just know what it is. That's why he say the strong ought to support the weak and not to plead themselves. That's why if you know you the stronger vessel, you ought to sit back and serve your woman and not to please yourself because you already know she weak. But again, that coming from understanding, knowing that she's weaker. See, the reason why a lot of men can't do that because the woman thinks she's strong or stronger than him. So now you fighting him. And you know what a man gonna do? He ain't gonna fight with no woman if he a man. He gonna let you fight with yourself. Why would he do it? At the end of the day, he's too valuable to do that. It's too valuable to his peace of mind. At the end of the day, when you look at what most men want, they just want a peace of mind. That's it. Can I be peaceful? Can I enjoy your presence? Like I can see you, like you should know that there too, right? If a man desires to be in your presence with no thought of having sex with you, that means he likes your presence. That means if you marry him, you probably come home every night. And not be like, I want to go here and want to go there because I enjoy your company. Now that's all a man wants is a woman whose company he can enjoy. Do you make yourself a woman or a man can enjoy your company? Or is it an environment of negativity and stress that he has no desire to be in? The world's stressful enough. Why he want to be stressed by a woman? Because you got a vagina? You think your vagina is a good equalizer to the stress of the world? It is not. Because I'm willing to wager that y'all would say that a penis is not good enough to equalize stress on your end. Psalm 69. 69 and 5. You could get verse 4. Psalm 69. They hate me without a cause. They that hate me without a cause are more than the hairs of my head. They that would destroy me, being my enemies wrongfully, are mighty. Then I restored that which I took not away. O Elohim, you know my foolishness and my sins are not hid from you. Let not them that wait on you, O Yahuwah Elohim, a host, be ashamed for my sake. Let not those that seek you be confounded for my sake, O Elohim of Yasharal. Because for your sake I have borne reproach, and shame have covered my face. He said, for whose sake? For Yahuwah's sake. For his Abba's sake, he bore this reproach. He didn't bear it for you. That's what he told you in Ezekiel 36. He said, I do this for my name's sake, O Yasharal. Let that be known. He said, you ought to be ashamed. He said, I don't do this for you. He said, I become a stranger unto my brethren, that's the apostles, and an alien unto my mother's sons, the apostles again. For the zeal of your house hath eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me. Those who done brought shame to you, that fell on me. Who is Yahusha? And there it is yet again. And there it is yet again. Back to Numbers 5 so we can depart. He said, but if the woman be not defiled, but be clean, then she shall be free and shall conceive seed. So now we got to hit him when we hit your man's with, right? When he said we went up under the earth, we were talking to him about it. So we go ahead and do it. That would have bore GML. Well, you were not there. Because say you went up under the earth. Would you like to hear when we went up under the earth? He's like, you chose. It might scare you now. You say, go ahead. Number one, where can we read in the text where it said that Yahusha was clean during his suffering? Because we know he was clean afterwards, but where can we read that during the offering that he was deemed to be clean? Y'all know it. We just talked about it the other day. And during his suffering, during when he was made an offering of the sacrifice, was he deemed to be clean? Pilate said, I don't find no fault in him. So since he can't find no fault in him, he can conceive seed. Now we were just in Galatians 3, but y'all already know it. Not seeds and men. That seed being Mashiach. Or what did he tell you in Romans 9? Oh, children of the flesh not counted from the seed. Because as it is written, in Isaac shall your seed be called. So the children of the flesh are not counted as the seed, but the children of the promise. That means you got to be born of the word. So let's go over here to Isaiah 66. That's right. He washed his hands. He did just like David did when they killed his man. He said, "Boy, me and my kingdom are free from this. I ain't had nothing to do with this here. That's a just man. I'm clean. My hands are clean." He said, "Who?" One thing they knew, he said, "Who ain't gonna come to see me by what you did? I ain't had nothing to do with this." Isaiah 66, verse 6. You sure you ready for that, Michael? You sure you ready? And this is the short version. It's the short version. I'm just letting you know, this is the short version. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of Yahuwah that rendered recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Who have heard such a thing? Who have seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her sons. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith Yahuwah? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith your Elohim? Now he just basically telling you that somebody gonna give birth and he not. Because guess what? Do y'all wombs ever close? I would hope not, because that would probably suck for you when it came to urinate. You know what I'm talking about? But your wombs are never closed. Nah, we just thinking about, see, y'all don't know nothing about that. But you know, Method Man say, I just sold your butthole closed. Keep feeding. And feed, you know how horrible that would have to be? Womb. But come over here to Genesis 3. 3 and 16. But you done knocked over that. She said everything good, which means it ain't. She didn't say that with confidence. Everything good. 3:16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. Of course, sorrow is pain, labor, hardship, sorrow, and toil. He told you that he was exceedingly sorrowful even unto death, did he not? He said he will increase it. Then we'll look at conception. Haron. You know what that is? Physical conception, pregnancy. Now, how was he able to conceive? You need seed to conceive. Well, the seed is the word. You seen him got hit in the side, right? Now let me ask you a question there, Michael. Did he close up Yahushua's womb when he rose from the dead? So that means he didn't shut the womb, now did he? But now we have to ascertain how was he able, because it says if the woman's clean, she can conceive seed. That means she can have kids. That means Mashiach clean, he got to be able to produce. Remember what it said in Isaiah 59? And this is what I made to your seed, and your seed, from henceforth and forever. Or this is the covenant that I make with you. And the words that I put in your mouth shall not depart from you, nor from your seed, nor from your seed, from henceforth and forever. Because if Yahushua wasn't clean, Yahushua couldn't have seed. Now he has to be Eve. Because guess what? Eve partook of the tree of life, which is the law, and died. He had to partake in it too and die. And then he has to go through the curse that was laid on her, which is the pain of childbirth. So when you see Mashiach on the tree, when you talk about, you'll have in John 16 that a woman in travail had his pain, but once the man child is born, she don't remember her pain no more. Well, didn't Yahushua go through pain when he was on the stage? Did he not cry out like a woman when she in birth? My Elohim, why have you forsaken me? Why have you done this to me? That's how y'all women, some of y'all women be like, they say, nigga, I hate you. But then when the baby is born, you forget about all of that. You know what I'm saying? He probably sitting here and say, I ought to kill every last one of these wicked niggas. But then when he died and resurrected from the dead, the pain is gone. I don't remember that anymore. Matthew 27. I know this Matthew 27 is why many a dude done walked away from the gospel of Yahushua. It's unfortunate. Many a dude walked away from this, everybody, for one reason. Because dudes couldn't tell them why it happened. And that's sad. I remember the first time a dude called me and said, explain that to me. And when I explained it to him, he was stuck. He was only stuck because he was expecting me not to be able to do it because he was so accustomed to people not being able to do it. Matthew 27 and 50.
That's wrong.
And Yahusha, when he cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the Ruach. You know who else? You know who else did that? Cried out with a loud voice and died during childbirth? Rachel. And you know who she died giving birth to? To Benjamin. And you know what Benjamin means, don't you, son? You want to say? Or are you confident in that? All right. Say it like you mean it then. And guess what? When Yahusha gave up the ghost, he said, everybody that overcome shall sit at his right hand. Like he sat down. So guess what? He was Rachel too. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks went, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the Kadash city and appeared unto many. And that right there, Michael, is shall he bring forth in one day. Because in that one day, he birthed a nation. And not a nation of Yasharal, but a nation of the sons of Elohim. And again, mentioning Rachel and Eve, he telling you the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. See, you thinking Rachel dying and having Benjamin is just a story about a lady dying and having her son, when it was really about Yahusha dying to have you. That's how he the first and the last. But see, they not ready. I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about the people in the, and what they call it in the internet sphere. They don't want to hear that. They say that nigga's blasphemy. Number 5. But we thank the Lord. That's the mystery of godliness that Elohim manifested in the flesh. But come on back over here to verse 29. Back Numbers 5. This is the law of jealousies when a wife go aside to another instead of her husband is defiled. Or when the ruach of jealousy come upon him and he be jealous over his wife and shall set the woman before Yahuwah, and the priest shall execute upon her all this law. Then shall the man be guiltless from the iniquity, and the woman shall bear her iniquity. And guess what? Now Yahusha is free from carrying that sin, and now if you sin against him, you gonna carry it. So hallelujah for Yahusha the word. We bless everybody out of the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahusha. I appreciate your time. Yahuwah willing. Go sit down. We're gonna get up out. Don't come over here with that today. Not tonight. Yahuwah willing, we're gonna pick this up at 7:30 on tomorrow and do it again. We got what? About four more go rounds, man. Tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got 4 more go rounds. Yahuwah willing. To the next. Well, I ain't